5 questions to clarify the goals. There is some element that we can apply to understand how to deal with problems, and why there is this tool called 5 questions to clarify the goals. The tool is some kind of framework that you got to understand whether that's the goal of the person or it is not the goal of the person. Once again, it's some kind of a tool, but we're not psychologists. We should approach that with a certain amount of caution. To use such tools, it's not a fact. There is no guarantee that you will be able to solve all people's problems. You can try to solve many problems with most people, including yourself. So how do you talk to a person? And what does a person want? The first question we can ask here. The very simple question is, what do you want? About 3 years ago, my colleague Slava Pankratov and I sat down on the shores of Dnieper, took something to drink, and started fantasizing about our small company. What do you want? Usually, here is a long list of things. The main thing is not to restrain yourself. Fame, money, family, there is Jennifer Lopez. That's all you want. You can write it here. And we have a big list, and it is not clear what to do with it. So then we need to apply a filter. Is the following question: why is it valuable to you? Or in simple words, the question is, what is it for? You want fame? What for? Well, because it has to do with money. It has always to do with money, but it's not always the case. There are some famous people, but they're not very wealthy. I want to be a manager. Why would you want to be a manager? Well, because I'm going to have more spare time. Here you can already catch and understand from your level that is not quite so. That is, there are some reasons for discussion where you can understand whether it is really valuable or not. Sometimes it can be valuable. I want to benefit society, to serve people. Why do you appreciate it? Everything is valuable. Why would you want to do that? I have some inner desire. You don't have to go any further. Here we can stop. The third question, this is another level of filter. What are you willing to give up? Why are you willing to say no? Because sometimes our wants contradict each other. Have a good family and Jennifer Lopez. You can certainly combine, if it is a family with Jennifer Lopez, maybe to build a global company with the leader of the world market with multi-billion profits, to have a lot of free time. Maybe something should go first. Or maybe at first, a lot of new time and wants will fall out. Here it is. There's a conflicting wish. Accordingly, we are setting some priorities for this issue. What are we willing to give up? You know, the classic story is when directors say, I have a problem. I have a budget to send 2 people to a conference, and everyone wants to go. How do I choose only 2 people so that the others are not offended? By asking questions. The conversation is always controlled by the one who asks questions. We need to ask questions. We have a conference coming up. Who wants to go? Everybody wants to go. But based on the conference results, I would ask someone to make a report for my team. And the master class of an hour or 2, who is ready? At once, half of the hands are down. And the company is willing to pay only for that half. Then the conference will be held in another city, tickets at your expense. So we cut it all off with these subsequent filters. As a result, there are only 2 people who need it more than the others. The 4th filter question is, what you will do tomorrow. Really, what are you going to do tomorrow? And it's a calendar date. Because sometimes people theoretically want a lot, but practically, they don't really want it. The criteria could be different. What's moving in this direction? What is not moving? How would you understand what is important for a person? He does or he doesn't. He wants it or he doesn't. What would you agree when, let's say, when you want to go to the men's room? You wouldn't say that you didn't find time and decided to dig, hang around in the house, so you did not have time and describe. it's also not happening. You want to get up and go. It is clear that it is necessary to apply some minimum effort, but nevertheless, the analogy is quite different. You are going to do tomorrow. What are you going to do tomorrow? You want to be a manager? In our company, to become a manager, you need to speak English at a very high level. You will need to tighten up the level of English. Yes, English. When are you going to study? But for now, I'll see something. The next week, we have kind of a project. Then the end of the year, and I was thinking of taking a vacation there. Then the New Year holidays. Then the Sochi Olympics. Then I'll go on vacation again. There is summer, the World Cup. By autumn, I will be. I'll probably return to English. So it doesn't really matter to be a manager if he's not ready to move right now, tomorrow. Then the fifth question. It works well for wants that are vaguely defined. How do you know you've achieved that? I want people to be in charge of the team. How do you know they're accountable? How do you know they're accountable? What are the signs? Lenin squint. So you look at someone and has a clear understanding. Why do you think they're accountable? What are the facts? What does it mean? We'll talk about it later. I want to learn how to build a software business in this company. One of the executives of a large division told us. That's a great goal. How do you know you've learned how to build a software business in this company? What are the signs? You're probably working, you have a reputation, you're doing something. Why do you think you haven't learned it already? There are 5 questions. It's a universal tool, really. You can bring it to yourself as a homework assignment. Just sit down, take a list of paper, and work with your goals. Maybe not today, because today is already evening and we don't feel that great. The forces will not be with us after our 2 hours. Maybe tomorrow. In a calm environment, it is better to leave the computers alone and all other devices so that nothing distracts you. Just try to come up with something. Perhaps you will understand where to move from the wrong square in the matrix of interest and competence. Similarly, you could talk to your employees like that. The tool is similar to you. Let's check your SMART targets. Sounds like a managerial plastic formulation, but and try to just express it humanly, in a human fashion. Okay, Sasha, what's the point? We have to say it correctly. You want to be able to understand why. What are you going to do tomorrow? The manager is in our company. What are you going to do tomorrow? The key mistakes of managers is that they hear wants and then immediately throw themselves to implement them. They good managers, but that is not correct approach because people don't always really want it. A man may say, I want to be a manager, but he doesn't, for a top manager that we want him somewhere. A man may say, I want to be manager, but he does it for a top manager that he wants. Maybe he wants it because he doesn't want to get fired. There is a generally different purpose. Do not immediately throw at the wants voiced here to perform, even if this wants you like. It is better to drive it through the filter in advance. This all relates, in fact, to the topic of constructive confrontation. We're checking to see if you want something or not. How do we deal with this? Because then we can tie the arguments to these wants too, which we will select in preparation for the conversation.